G'day, how you going? This is Ian Harris here, aka Ianapolis, your acrylic guru. Thanks for joining me. Now we are up to part 3 and probably the completion of our seagull, okay? So we're going to finish off this with the other wing and his head, okay? So I'll just let the colours go up the screen there for you so you can catch what colours we're going to use in this tutorial here. And the size of the canvas is a 30 centimetre by 42 centimetre, alright? So, and in this one, like I did in part 2, I only mainly use this brush, and I know, well, that's all I'm going to need for this part, okay? Just a little flat brush. It's a very small one, alright? So come over here and we'll have a look at the paints that I'm going to start with. So they're the colours from yesterday. They're all dried up, but I've got my new ones again now. So I've got my carbon grey, my mid-tone grey, and I've got some flowing white just to lighten up this one to a lighter colour so we can fill in his head and his far side wing. So you can see here we've got some white, light grey, mid-tone greys and dark greys, and we'll probably whack in his yellow beak. So I want to pull some of this flowing white out, enough of that to mix up the lighter tone grey, pretty similar to what we had over here. Alright, that's why I left it there as well. Give me an idea of the same grade. And I want to chisel this on so I get a nice, tight, wet, solid edge. Okay, so this ridge of his wing is white. I can see my lines there. So we'll map all this in with our grey, keeping the edge nice and white. And then we can set that back by putting the head in front of it. That's why I'm doing it this way, in this order. So we'll map all this on there like so. There we go. And then we'll just come down the bottom here and finish his wing as well. This is going to be pretty much the carbon grey down here, but I'm going to use this as a lot of the undercolour. So I'm going to get the brush on its edge and get the edge of these feathers nice and sharp with this. It's virtually acting like a primer as well. And come down here. That's it. And then we'll brush stroke that in the direction that the feathers are laying. There we go. See, I can see the impressions of those lines that the pen made when I pressed the image on here. Now that's mapped in. Now I've just wiped this brush, I haven't cleaned it, and we're going to get some of the mid-tone grey, and that paint's still wet. And under here I want to stamp it on, get some of that on the brush there. Stamp it on and merge it into that lighter coloured grey there, just like that. It might look white, but it's not white, but there is a gradient of a medium tone there I can see. Alright, now I'm going to just wipe that like a gentleman and just scrumble them together. Okay, now I'm grabbing the mid-tone grey, and I want to trace in the lines of the feathers on the bottom of that wing. I've got it chiselled on and I can see me lines there. So I want to just get the bottoms a bit dark and follow the next line through like so, just like that. Come all the way from the top like that. I could see the lines there. These are all one long feather looking at the reference picture. And some down here. And what have we got there? Yeah, we got a bit more. Be sure this line here matches that line behind his head, because if you get them mislined, his wing's going to look a bit crooked. Okay, Now what else we got there? We got some, we can pretty much get a bit more of this mid-tone grey in there, because this is mainly dark under here, because we're going to use the carbon grey now and get all this darkened up. So we'll distinguish these lines again, so that's pretty much blended there. I want to get that little thin line there, blend the bottom of his feather like that, so the paint sort of breaks up. Get this other line nice and thin, like that. Is that looking feathery? I reckon it is. Get them nice and thin. Heavy about there. Just keep chiseling it onto your brush. Now I'm going to blend this a bit wider so we can put the black on. Just scratch those hard lines there at the bottom of the feather. What's happening here? Yeah, that's a bit darker there. What's happening under his... See, under his head here, it's all this colour. So we'll bring that along there. And we'll just tear that down as well. Just like that. And there's a bit of this carbon grey right on the edge of this wing, so I'm going to put it there. I can see the littlest just in here, so I'm going to put the littlest of this carbon grey just in there, just dabbing it on like so. I'll quickly wipe that bulk of that paint off that brush and pull it up, blend it through here. Now if that's too dark, like I've said before, we can always come back with the lighter colours, which I think I might have to later, just to give it some lighter values again. I've added some carbon black and titanium white down on the palette now to get the tip of the wing like it is here in this colour. So I've washed that brush now, clean, ready to go again. I'm chiseling the black onto there, and we want some darker values coming up here, not all the way up. I don't want to do it. It's up to you which way you patternize these shades here. And there's a bit of darkness here, because I would like to, now it's a bit darker under each the bottom of there, the bottoms are darker. Where else are we? Some up here. And while that's still a bit tacky, wettish, that black, I'm going to just wash the brush. That way it's damp but not dry. And I want to get some of that black, let's see if it's going to work, and merge it with that carbon grey so it's mixing, it's not stark black. There we go. Under his head, come all the way down there. I love this sort of blending. I just find it very fun, therapeutic. I'll pick up some carbon grey and just wipe it off, because I feel it's a little bit dry, because all this is going to dry dark. See, it's just getting rid of those little scratchy edges. Let me just have a look in the monitor there and we'll see how that's looking. That's looking all right. Back over here now, this bottom part of his wing's got some white highlights. So I've cleaned my brush and we'll put those whites onto the wing. So we'll use this nice titanium white. Nothing's added to it, it's just fresh out of the tube. Let's see if that wing's dry enough to put this on top without going grey. Now I'm looking at my monitor there, and I'm just seeing where some of these whites are. Just like that. Don't overthink it. We've got a nice band here somewhere. Pick up some more white, and the very tips of these are white, leaving some of the black there to make them pop. There we go. I wiped the brush a little bit, and we've got a band of white coming down here, a bit of a highlight, and we got the minutest of highlights coming in here. That'll do it. Okay, all we've got to do now is put the white on the top of that wing and colour his head in, paint his head in, and give a bit of colour to his beak and define the eye so it looks a bit more like a living thing on our canvas, alright? So, what have we got there? It's pretty much white. I'm going to map the whole head in white and then just flick in the lighter tones of grey and scrumble them together, alright? So get back over here again. Now, where are we? The white's coming from here all the way. Keep the outside nice and sharp. I'm using this flat head on its edge to keep a nice straight line. And this is coming all into his back area here now, sort of scratched, feathered through there like that. That's it. And then we can map it all in. And then we've got a nice white surface where we can put the tones of grey where they need to go. So this head is in front of that wing now, so we're going to sit that wing back with all our strokes right across here, nice and sharp. Just like that. It's fun, isn't it? And this is coming here. It's going to sink that wing back nice and sharp against there. Now let's map all that in. And this might need a few coats as well. This is just pure titanium white out of my tube I'm using here now, but it is going to need a few coats. Now the head's mapped in white. I'm going to pick up the mid-tone grey that was mixed with the white, okay, and I'm looking at the reference picture and just getting an idea roughly where some greys are. Just there's some there, there's some around where the eye's got to go. I'll do the eye last. And a bit up here. There's some bits in the face there. Underneath here, it's a different tone grey there. And all the way back here. So we'll stamp this on, and if we kill any of the whites too much, we'll just put them back. Now I've just wiped that brush and I want to scrumble this lighter tone grey just with that white, just to kill the edges there like that. Keep a rag handy or a cloth just so you can keep wiping the build up off your brush, and we're getting some of this. Don't be too fussed if you kill too much of the white, because we can put that back as a final layer just for highlights and that. I just want to, you know, like I sat clouds down. Well, that's what I'm pretty much doing with this grey tone here. It's the light one mixed with the white. There we go. Okay, we've put all our lighter grey. Now we'll grab the medium, but maybe if you want, you can mix just a little bit of the dark one with this, because we need just a little bit darker under his armpity area. So there's a bit more of a darker bit here. Or this might be too dark. That's too dark. So let's just grab this colour on its own. Sorry, we'll grab the mid grey. I'll stamp that in there and bring that light shadow down here where it is in the picture as well, over that. Here we go. How's that looking in the camera? That's alright, it's looking sort of the way it should. Now I'm just picking up some of the darker one, very little on my brush, and I'm just trying to find the most minutest little dark areas, but that's pretty much it. I've just coloured in the beak area off camera there because I want it to be primed so as the yellow will stand out on that. If I try and put the yellow just over the blue, it could be opaque and you could see through it. Now you can use whatever colour yellow you like. I'm going for Indian yellow here. So I'm going to chisel that up. This looks very see-through-y, this one. And we'll just map in the beak. Now see how that yellow's sitting on that white? You could see it a lot clearer. If that was just on the blue, like over here, where are we? Like over here, you'll see through it. So the white's acting as a primer. I'll have a little bit of crimson red on my palette as well, just to put in that tone of red, whatever that's there for, but it looks good in the picture, so I want to incorporate that into my rendition as well here. Let it dry and do another coat if you feel okay. Now I've given his beak a few coats. I've had to put the hairdryer on it because it kept lifting the paint, it was too wet. Now I'm going to scratch, have a look at your reference picture and work out where your white is, where it's coming into the beak, and just sort of tone the shape of the beak with your white back in there, pretty much there and all the way here, coming round about there. Okay, I got some of the lighter tone grey that I mixed with the white because just under his beak, this white area, there's a band of grey coming off that creates a white lip around there. So I want to get that. Now I'm just mixing up some more darker values with that grey, just so we can get that coming down under his chin there. It's very minimal, but I want it there. There we go. Now I've got some yellow oxide and raw sienna dark. I'm going to use one of these to get the darker line into his beak. Let's see what we can do here. Get the minutest of black into some of this. See what that does. We want it looking the yellow oxide, but a lot darker. So you saw how much I put in there. I didn't put much at all, but just enough to give us some darkness. Now it's chiseled on, and we want to come all the way there and find the center of his beak. Does it go all the way along? I'm pretty sure it does, sort of, somewhere about to there. And he's got a bit of a nostril going on there. So we'll teardrop a nostril in there just like that. Looking all right, it'll do. It'll do. Now, I've just washed the brush and there's a light element of red here for some reason, but I want to put it there just because I do. I've picked up some titanium white and the tip of his beak is white. It's obviously got light reflecting on it, just the very tip. There we go. Now we're just going to set his eye in. So I've got this small precision brush. I think it's for painting little eyes on model figures and stuff. So let's load the brush up and condition the paint onto the brush to a nice point. Okay, I can see where my eye is and I want to sort of very lightly map in the eye. See how I did that? Very lightly. mapping the eye just like that, and then just picking up the yellow oxide onto that brush. Now I've washed that brush, conditioned that so it's ready to dollop, and just stamp that in there very easily so you get a nice dollop of that in there. And if you don't like the colour, change it. Alright, now what has he got? He's got a black pupil, so now we'll go back to the black. I've just washed that brush, picked up the black on that brush the same way so I can do a dollop. And we're just going to put a little, let's be careful here, little dot for his iris. And now I'm going to sink that black bit there back because it's just a bit too heavy for me. I've washed the same brush, I've picked up my titanium, and now I'm going to get that black to the size that I want. It's very minimal, but it's working. And we can also try and highlight some other areas. Actually, I don't care if these are big blobs. I love structured paint on some paintings. High ridges and stuff. I want to say a couple of hellos to some people that's been bugging me to say hello to them. And I might even, just for the hell of it, put the littlest bit of glare in his eyeball. There we go, just the littlest. Alright, he's just about finished. Now, I want to say hello to Bill Patterson. I was speaking to him the other day as well on the messenger there, talking backwards and forwards with each other. So g'day Bill Patterson. And John Cox, you asked me to say hello in my next video, so here I am saying hello to you, John Cox. All the best to you. Now that's pretty much it. You can detail that and detail it till the cows come home, but what I'd like to do now is we'll get this tape off, but I've got to do it very slowly because it's been sitting on there for a couple of days. Alright, can you see that? And this is the fun bit. I love taking the tape off because it's unveiling your very own personal masterpiece. Always pull it back on itself like I've showed you previously. Nice and easy. No, I saved it. There we go. That's because I've had this paint on there for, I'll get some white on there. Just a flow white, there we go. Now we'll put a frame on it and see how he looks, or she looks. There we go, we've put a frame on our seagull. Now we've just got the sand and down is a crashing wave, so it's pretty much a very wavy kind of beach surface. So we've got our blurry kind of semi-detailed water in the background, and we've just got a beautiful simple seagull cascading across the picture there like that. That's not too shabby, eh? Alright, I hope you liked this easy exercise for you beginners. This is the final part 3. Check the links in the description below for my Patreon page and my Facebook. Add me as a Facebook friend and you can private message me or send me a video call and we can have a chat. All my tutorial paintings on these 30 by 42 centimetre canvases, what are available, are always for sale, and they're about $75 US, okay? And that includes postage and handling. Alright, hope you like what we've done here. Tell your friends if you like what I'm doing, but if you don't, you better tell everybody, alright? All the best, goodbye, good luck, and good on ya!